Hi guys!
Hello, welcome, namaste.
Blessings, love and light to another special edition episode of MystiCOOLS. This one's on Valentine's Day and
All about love.
I feel so blessed to be with my Valentine on Valentine's Day.
I feel so blessed too.
Is she query?
You're handsome too.
Oh, stop. Okay guys.
But honestly, we're also here to discuss divine love, right? Not just personal love.
I'm sorry, I just can't stop staring. She surprised me actually.
Yeah, I sent him out with a massage today because he's been working so hard. He needed it. And then I got a little dressed up. I don't normally, so I surprised him with that too.
Very pleasant surprise.
So it's the smallest things in life sometimes, just the smallest little gestures of thinking about someone else and what would help lift their spirits or help them feel better. And selfless service is a form of love. It doesn't necessarily have to be romantic, right? So there's all kinds of ways that we can love our neighbor as ourselves. We can, love ourselves enough to love our neighbor as ourselves, and connect by connecting inward to the divine source, which is abundant, overflowing amounts of love.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I once read a quote, I think it was on Facebook. It said, I think it's a Buddhism quote, in fact. It said, love someone in such a way that they feel free. And what that means is, like, they don't feel like now that they're with you in a relationship, they feel limited in any way. And that, I think, is a big part of when you connect to unconditional love from the divine source. Because that's how your partner feels. Because I feel so, in fact, I feel more unlimited and free, believe it or not guys, it's the truth. I feel more unlimited and free now that I'm in a relationship with Victoria than I did when I was alone. And this is a call out to people who sometimes feel like, well, I was single and now I'm in a relationship and I feel I've lost my freedom.
Trapped or something like that.
Yeah, I lost my freedom.
It's real important to know yourself and know your needs and your boundaries as well, which is really healthy, right? Because then when you can express how you're feeling and your needs and your boundaries consciously, that helps for understanding to flow between the two, which will give you that freedom that you need to be yourself. Like, he's very supportive of me with plants and working in the garden and making stuff, and he just lets me do my thing and doesn't, question it too much, but is happy to hear about it when I share it.
Yeah, and also, of course I am.
He's a sweetie.
Sweetie, I learned it from her. Also, the other thing is, many times we want to understand things from the mind to take an action, but I tell you, a lot of things in this world cannot be understood by the mind. In fact, the ones which provide the greatest connection probably cannot. I'll go out on a limb and say that here. So I've reduced my need to understand things. As long as they're working, they're bringing joy in your life, hey, I've got no issue with that, So, like for example, plants. Victoria is very passionate about plants. We have flowers in our back right now.
Yeah, all the flowers are blooming. So here in Florida at this time is like spring almost. So all the flowers have bloomed, and right at like Valentine's, which is really cool, and right before it. So I've been sending a lot of pictures to women I know that would really appreciate it. See, another form of godly love or divine love is, it doesn't have to be just about us today. I've also sent love to other females in my life with these beautiful flowers, and they're like, oh, a gift from your yard, just really sweet blessings, because they're beautiful and they're just blooming. So that's why I was like, we got to do the video with this. But yes, I'm really passionate about flowers, and so he's very, appreciates that, and I feel free to work in the garden and express myself in that way.
Yeah, and I may not express myself in the exact same way, but I know that it brings her joy and it helps her stay in her alignment. So why not? So what I'm trying to say is, you can respect a person even if you don't fully understand them. You can appreciate them even though you don't fully understand what they're going through. You can still be caring even though you don't fully understand exactly what they're going through. Because the truth is, you'll never 100% understand the exact same thing what they're going through, because their experience can never 100% be the same experience. So say, like, for example, if I did gardening in the morning.
Sorry, there's a car going by. It's very loud.
Yeah. Okay, it's gone. Yeah. So even if, for example, I garden for in the exact same area with the same plants as she did, obviously I will have not the exact same experience. You see?
But what's cool is not having the same exact thing and having differences is beautiful when you can unify them, because I can't stand weeding and he just loves it. It's a meditation for him. Me working with the plants, watching them grow, feeling their needs, taking care of them and transplanting them and watering them and connecting with them and grounding with them. That's all fun for me. When it comes to weeding, I'm like, I'll do it later. Maybe tomorrow. And then he's like, can I weed with you? And I love it. It's like a meditation. I'm like, oh, thank God. So that's where the difference is. So if he wants to come help me in the yard, he likes to do the one thing I procrastinate with doing because it's just not my favorite. First of all, I have a hard time because I'm like, am I hurting the weeds? And I'll sit there for like, I don't want to kill it. Is it medicinal? How can I find out if this weed is medicinal? And it just be hours of just not knowing what to do. And he'll just come and it's a little meditation and he'll weed the flower bed for me. So it's really sweet. So yeah, it's just about adjusting with the differences and unifying, because you can't expect, or sometimes we have these expectations that don't get met. Like someone knows exactly, like they can read your mind. Unless you're tapped into telepathic communications, you're going to have to communicate. Both parties are going to have to communicate their feelings and needs. And it's okay that they're different, and it's okay if you don't understand. You'd be like, okay, thank you for expressing that you don't understand. Maybe I can express it differently. Or you can step back and pray for understanding. A lot of that has happened in our relationship is God shows us confirmations or helps us have a greater understanding to be able to connect. I mean, when you say, like, when we go, we take some space with God and then connect much deeper.
Yeah,
come back.
I once, in fact, I didn't even read this quote. She channeled this. She said, and stuck with me. She said, I don't need you to solve my problems. I just need you to give me the space to take it up with God to solve my problem for me. And I thought about that. That was a really deep one. And thank you for channeling that. Because
thank you, God.
Yeah, because as guys, we are conditioned to be basically Mr. Fix-It, the problem solver guys. And yes, there are things. Yeah, there are things outside where we need to fix things, no doubt. But a lot of times in relationships, there are times like you don't need to actually fix it. And we try to fix it anyway, and that's why we botch it up. Guys, this is for all of you guys out there specifically. So
it's like authentic listening, just holding the space for the person, because there's like I just talked in a video I just did, the processing your transformations. So, especially right now, just to be completely honest, whether you're open to this or not, that's okay. But 2020 there is some really beautiful energy coming in, and so it's really helping us on our path of consciousness to purge and cleanse and transmute and ground, and then begin to learn how to anchor the light frequency. So you may have stuff coming up that you don't fully understand, and then your partner is definitely not going to understand if you don't. So if they just give you the space and you don't try to solve it, fix it, understand it, and just like let them, there's a difference between complaining and venting, right?
This is a very important topic she just brought up.
Yeah, so if the person's just venting, it may be their process of how they can find clarity. So it could be the male or the female, it doesn't matter, but giving that space, and then they're like, thanks for listening, and then they're like, you know what? I think that I'm just going to let this go. I think that I just need to forgive this person. And then they find that answer themselves. So then it won't be like, oh, well, you told me, to do this and it didn't work out. And then it gets all fuzzy and weird. So it's better to just hold the space. And then if you feel like you really want to do something, or you don't want to leave the person hanging, like I care about them so much, I would want to do something, then just say, is there anything I can do to help you? Right? Like be authentically listening. And then, is there anything I can do to help you? And if they're like, no, I just got to work through this. There you go.
I think that's a powerful side point there. Is there anything I can do to help you? I feel, as a guy, gives two main signals there. One is, I'm telling my partner that I definitely want to help you. So I'm not just tolerating this or being like, all right, when does she finish? I just don't.
Yeah, stop with the rant, stop with the, yaki.
Yeah.
And that hurts, that hurts anyone. If you're like, are you done yapping? Can you get over this? Come on, be positive. That's not, what we mean. We mean authentically listening, or like, whether they need to cry, express their frustration, but give them that space in non-judgment. Also, if you can. That's what we would recommend. All free will choice. Do whatever you want.
Yeah, seems to be working. Definitely recommend this. The other point there is also, now you're asking the lady and you're getting clarity on whether there is something to be fixed, basically something which you can fix. Because many times there are things to be fixed which you can't fix, but God can fix.
Yes.
So, for example,
and time and healing.
Exactly. So so it can go either way. She may specify that no, I can't do anything, in which case I have clarity. Okay, fine, I can't do anything, so back out. Or in the other situation, she can say, yes, you could do this, or maybe you could do this for me, or maybe you could help me get out of this by doing this, or I don't know, going for a walk with me.
Yes, that's one thing I really like to do when we have a place where neither one of us are understanding each other from the mind, and it starts feeling a little tense in that way. The new thing to transmute it very quickly is, honey, come take a walk with me. And for some reason, just being outside, we were able to get to a deeper place when we do that and transmute the energy a lot quicker. And it's really helping us get to that
and
authentically, instead of like, okay, when are you leaving?
And by the way, the inner child. This is a big part of it.
Oh, the inner child is huge.
Yeah, to channel the unconditional love, connecting to the inner child. And I just want to clarify here, Victoria has mentioned it in previous episodes, but I'm not talking about childish behavior.
Childlike.
I'm talking about childlike behavior. And that's where you can channel the unconditional love. So when you go, oh, I have observed that when we go like this, into this kind of state, that's when we are actually going more into the inner child state.
And the heart space.
Yeah.
So, for me, sometimes, like, as an empath, I'll have a lot of emotional stuff, and I don't know if I'm feeling his, mine, the combination, his thoughts, my thoughts, and that's for an empath, they need to learn which energy is theirs. So when I'm noticing when we're in that, I'm like, let's just go walk, because grounding, going outside is going to ground it. Then you kind of get centered and know, oh, okay, this is something that maybe he's feeling. And then let's let him talk about it, or vice versa. And it just transmutes a lot quicker, and then we end up coming back and feeling really refreshed and grounded.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. I'm just feeling so grateful right now to make this video together, because this is our first Valentine's Day video together. We launched the channel in September last year. We did have a relationship special episode in between. If you guys want to check that out, it's there in the special editions playlist. You can always look at that video at the end of this video, the end screen. But over here, I feel there's something so beautiful that's beginning to blossom, just like these flowers, and in the spaces where you least expect it. Because I tell you what, this right here,
we thought these were just regular bushes taking up like garden space. So I was even like, maybe we can like move them elsewhere. And then all of a sudden, all these different color flowers, I don't know if you can see it, but there's like a dark red, there's pink, and then the other side, which I didn't get to tell you, I just found this morning, there's also white flowers.
Wait,
so
what?
Yeah, it's over there. And in the middle, now you have, almost want to bring the whole camera, but that's okay. We'll keep
flowers
it
at the back.
But there's also, it wraps around. And so there's white flowers, pink flowers, and like a dark pinker, and it's just so beautiful. It's just so beautiful, the multicolors. And then we have a different color pink flower over there blooming. So literally there are flowers blooming all over our yard. It's very beautiful.
Yeah, I just feel so blessed to be where I am right now, and take the time
Love
out.
blossoms.
Oh yeah, love blossoms. I like that.
And over time,
nice one. I like that.
Yeah, and over time it does, and it's all about conscious communication, time, like learning to respect boundaries, understanding needs, and so over time it deepens and it blossoms, and it shows so much more of an awe experience if you're willing to do the inner work. Because a lot of times in relationships, we're like, oh, this person hurt me. But what we don't recognize sometimes is that we have an inner child, like he was saying, that's wounded. And we may be attracting that. Like subconsciously, we could have a pattern. That's why I just did this video on shifting your patterns that says, I'm unworthy. But in your mind, you're not like, no, I'm worthy, I'm good. But deep down, there's something might have happened when you were a kid or some kind of conditioning, and deep down in your subconscious, you're like, I'm not worthy of love. I only attract such and such. This is, I get these repeated patterns constantly in relationships, and this can be for males or females. So you want to look inward, and a relationship is a great place to mirror that. It mirrors where we need to do our inner work. So for us, we take initiative and responsibility to work with God on our inner work. And as we do that, it deepens our connection. So it depends on where are you sourcing your love from. Is it based on fear and expectation and, wanting something from someone and, to fit a certain box or an image or just to be in a partnership? We want to be cautious of those things. Just suggesting, again, free will choice, do whatever you want. We support you, love you. It's all good. But if you want to go a little deeper into experiencing true love, it's really good to source pure love. God is love. So when we, again, don't understand or something, we'll go to God and take that responsibility, take that time to meditate, take that time to pray. And when we come together, we can sort that stuff out. Or when we go for a walk, it gets transmuted. But it takes effort to be effortless. And so it does take a little bit of effort to look like, where are you inward? It's not the other person's fault when a trigger comes up, but it's good to recognize that and be like, okay, let me go take some personal time to heal this with God, and then come back and let's try this again. And just being there in the most forgiving. Forgiveness is constantly something to practice in a good, healthy relationship, honestly. Boundaries, and sourcing your love from God. Because then it will teach you all those things. Put God first and everything else will follow. So, it could be all your relationships can be super divine. It's not just romance. It's all relationships. It's how we connect in our heart center, how our inner child is doing. One thing I will say is really neat is we're connecting so much that, I don't know if you remember this, when he was just waking up, he said that he had spoke to my inner child. Do you remember that? And it was the sweetest thing, because for the longest time it was like we weren't having anything like that. So it was just like I'd just been praying and just, that he could see my inner kid is really silly, beautiful, sweet. And, my conditioning stuff I'm releasing is a whole different thing. But, and you're transmuting and grounding it. So he says, I met you, it's talking with your inner child. And what a morning to wake up to. That was so like, thank you, God.
I'll tell you one more interesting thing on that. So I was just saying that when you have conversations with people, you can also do affirmations just before the conversation starts. Like, for example, you can pray and ask for guidance that this conversation takes place in higher self to higher self dynamic.
That's it.
And also in a sealed, loving bond, in a cocoon of love and things like this, so that the flow of the conversation is better, and you've already affirmed this before the conversation starts. So that's one way of definitely connecting to the love. And the other point which came up is when she was talking about the inner child. You can also pray for somebody else's inner child to be healed. So for example, say somebody shouts at you, or is not, like basically you're trying to talk to someone and there's a conflict there, it's just not working out. You can always pray for the healing of their inner child, and that will help them. Because if you're seeing that their inner child like, oh, I'm not worthy, I don't think he thinks I'm worthy. Because the biggest issue that can block the energy of the inner child to come out and blossom is, I'm not worthy of love. In some form or the other, but this is the core thing. I am not worthy of love. This is not true. It's
conditioning.
Yes.
It's just conditioning. It's like a experience happens and our inner child gets really afraid, and it's like, and it's just a conditioning. It's just fear is not real. It's just something that is playing like an old record, and you just need to remove the record. But thank you for bringing that up, because when I was talking about the walks and transmuting, I totally forgot. One thing that actually helped us transmute was when I asked him to stop and pray with me. And a prayer I do every day and every night is higher self to higher self. And I also say the blood of Jesus in all circumstances, all situations, and that God's love puts this ring of protection around us. And that our higher selves can talk to higher selves, and that our angels can talk. So if you want to go even higher than that, you can bring in the angels. I do like seal the house with love, seal us with love. It's always sealing in God's love. So it's a very good, strong, protective prayer. And also another meditation is where I try to see the child of God in everyone. So like what he's saying, when you see the inner child, someone's like, you didn't get my something, something, something. And they may be logically proving a lot of points, but you can see that it's like that little kid like, this ain't working for me. And so you just try to talk to them like that inner divine parent or that inner divine friend, and in knowing that they're having a moment of trigger or they're having a moment where they're reacting to something, if we don't judge that and we step back, we can be that shining light of love. And when you stay really calm, it helps bring them to a more calm state, because then they start to feel safe. And then they may leave going, wow, I gotta look at my behavior, versus if you're like, you're acting absurd, then they're gonna be like, no, I'm not, you're acting absurd. And it can get really, really testy waters. So it's best to step back, like he's saying, and just ask for that inner child. I do ask in accordance to the divine's will, because I don't want to interfere energetically outside of someone's permission, or they may have a lesson to learn or something like that. So I don't like to interfere with that, but I will pray in the divine will.
Yeah, it basically takes an inner child connection to bring another inner child connection back. So if the other person is going out of the inner child connection, you can't go out of inner child connection to bring them back. You have to stay in the inner child connection, and send that energy from there, so then it brings them back into inner child, and then you can both connect on inner child to inner child, which is also basically higher self to higher self.
An inner child is just your true authentic self that's connected to the divine. A child of God, a child of source, a child of love. God is love. So sometimes I think that could be confusing, where you think you have to like act like a kid. I mean,
I mentioned earlier, the difference between childish versus childlike.
Right.
So just to be clear, what she's saying, it's a valid point. Sometimes people may get the wrong idea here. We are not talking about childish behavior. We are talking about the innocent childlike behavior, the innocence in the eyes of a baby, like that innocence. That is the innocence.
Awe-inspiring, forgiving.
Yes, those qualities.
Remaining flexible, remaining forgiving, remaining open, sacred space, authentic listening, not carrying the burdens of the worries of this world,
forgiving.
Which normally happens like as we get older or more conditioning starts coming in, then the fears and the worries and stuff. So releasing all that stuff helps you get connected with the divine and to who you really are.
Exactly.
And that would be your inner child being healed.
Exactly. And just to summarize and close this video, I would definitely like to mention that point earlier. We are all worthy of love.
Oh, we are all worthy of love, and we are all connected to Source, and Source is love.
Exactly. We're
true
all
love.
Yep, true love. That's what we're here to talk about. That was the main topic for today, and I feel like I found true love with this one right here. Our love is quite literally beyond this world.
It really is.
All right,
blessed
guys.
from the divine.
So thank you so much for joining us today for this Valentine's Day special. If you liked this video, if it inspired you in any way, feel free to like, share, comment, subscribe for more videos. And I would certainly love to bring out more videos with her. It's an honor to work with her.
It's fun.
In front of the camera or behind it. Yeah, it just brings me so much joy.
Oh, no.
Alright guys, so
sorry, it's a little much on the camera for me, but it's okay. We're expressing our love.
Alright,
and we wish you many blessings.
Thank you
and
so
also lots of overflowing love, connecting to your true self, and the all divine, all inspiring. God is love. Thank you so much for visiting us today. Many blessings.
Thank you guys. Blessings. Namaste.
Namaste.